You answered before you understood what was being asked. Not just today. The pattern is older than today. The message arrives, the silence in the room, the tone that shifted, the question that carries weight. And before you've actually seen it, you've already responded. You move, you speak, you fix, you defend. And somewhere between the stimulus and the response, the most important thing gets discarded. The moment where you could have simply watched. In 1943, Simone Weil was dying in a sanatorium outside London, 34 years old, tuberculosis. She had spent years watching Europe come apart without screaming, without rushing. She filled journals no one had asked for. In one of her last notes, she wrote something so quiet it took decades to be heard. Attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity. She died before the world was ready to listen. You know exactly what she meant. Not because the world is loud, because you are. There is a creature that solved this problem before the first human opened his mouth. The owl arrived in this world with eyes that cannot move, not left, not right, not anywhere, fixed in their sockets like two lanterns bolted to stone. In some species, each eye weighs more than the entire brain behind it. The eyes alone make up 5% of the owl's total body weight. It was built almost entirely for seeing, and then denied the one thing every other predator takes for granted, the casual glance. To compensate, it was given a neck with 14 vertebrae, exactly twice as many as yours, that rotates 270 degrees without cutting off blood to its brain. Every act of attention is total. There is no peripheral distraction, no half look, no watching something while pretending to watch something else. It can locate a mouse beneath 30 centimeters of packed snow by sound alone, in complete darkness, with an accuracy of 1 degree. Its two ears sit at different heights on its skull, not a flaw, a design feature that triangulates life from silence. It doesn't rush, it doesn't react, it watches, and only when the watching is complete does it move. What did it figure out that you've been forgetting every single day? Lesson 1. The eyes that cannot look away. The owl's eyes are so large they cannot rotate within their sockets. There is simply no room for the mechanism. In many species, the eyes alone account for 1/3 of the skull's volume. This is not a compromise in the design. It's the whole point. The owl was built to see with total commitment, or not at all. Because the eyes are fixed, looking at something means facing it completely. The owl cannot watch you from its periphery. It cannot glance sideways while tracking something else. When an owl turns its gaze to you, all of it turns. There is nothing held in reserve. You've been in rooms where you could feel the other person wasn't fully there. Their eyes pointed your direction while their mind assembled its next sentence. You've been that person too. Nodding while composing, hearing while planning, present in location and absent in every way that matters. The owl has no choice but to give its whole attention. It was built without the option to do otherwise. The interesting question isn't how the owl learned to focus. It's whether what you call distraction is actually a choice you're making, so often it's started to feel like nature. What would it cost you to look at one thing, completely, before you look at the next? Lesson 2. The silence before the strike. The barn owl's wing feathers have serrated leading edges, like the teeth of a fine comb, that break incoming air into microcurrents too small to create turbulence. The result is a wing that makes no sound in flight. None. Aerospace engineers studied the barn owl's feather structure in the 1990s to design quieter aircraft. The owl had already solved it. It had been silent in the air long before the question was ever asked. It doesn't announce its approach. The silence isn't a strategy it learned. It was built into the feather. Lao Tzu lived in a court where silence was read as absence of wisdom. Every minister proved his worth by speaking. For decades, he watched. He wrote 81 verses, the entire Tao Te Ching, and then, according to tradition, walked through the Western Gate and was never seen again. The last line he left behind, because he does not compete, no one can compete with him. Then he stopped writing and proved it. The owl proves it every night, not with 81 verses, with one silent wing. The prey never hears it coming. They only know the consequence. What are you announcing that you could simply do? Lesson 3. The gift that looks like a deficiency. The owl cannot move its eyes. Every other predator that hunts by tracking, the hawk, the wolf, the human, uses eye movement to stay locked on a target. The owl has none of that capacity. Fixed, locked, immobile, and it is one of the most precise hunters on the planet. What was designed to look like a limitation is actually a commitment. Because the owl cannot look away, it never wastes attention on what isn't prey. It doesn't track every leaf that falls, every wind shadow, every sound that turns out to be nothing. The inability to scan everywhere forced it to become extraordinary at looking at one thing correctly. You call your version of this a weakness. Too many tabs open, too many signals coming in, too much to track. You've spent years believing the solution is more capacity. The owl got better by having less. Lesson 4. The asymmetric ear. The owl's two ears sit at different heights on its skull, one higher, one lower. Sound reaches them at microscopically different times. That delay, measured in millionths of a second, is enough for the owl to calculate not just where a sound comes from horizontally, but vertically, in total darkness. It finds precision not by receiving both signals equally. It finds it by measuring the gap between them. Lesson 5. Darkness is not a command. The owl does not panic because the forest is dark. It was built for darkness. Its retinas are packed with rod cells, 100 times more sensitive to light than yours. What you call impossible visibility, the owl calls Tuesday. You treat uncertainty as an emergency. Every unanswered message, every unread expression, every room that goes quiet. Your nervous system interprets darkness as a command to move. The owl treats it as an invitation to listen better. When did you start believing that not knowing requires immediate action? The first signal is rarely the whole truth. A sound in the grass is not yet prey. A shadow is not yet danger. A silence is not yet abandonment. The immature mind reacts to fragments. The trained mind waits for shape. True power is witnessing without leaving a trace. The serrated feather, the fixed eye, the offset ear, they are not random biological accidents. They are interlocking answers to the problem of a chaotic world. A highly specific design where every weakness is actually a commitment and every limitation is actually a precision tool. And where there is a design, a question remains. If the capacity to observe without interfering was deliberately written into the architecture of the forest, what does that mean for your restless hands? You were not made to react to everything that crosses your path. You were not made to fill every silence. You were not made to answer before the question finishes forming. The owl watches the mouse walk away because the moment wasn't perfect. It lets the noise of the forest break against its immovable frame. It waits for signal. And when it finally moves, the world doesn't hear it coming, it only knows the consequence. You carry the silence you refuse to use. It is already yours. The next time the urge to react rises in your throat, stop. Find your branch. Lock your eyes, the world will keep spinning without your intervention. Let it.